with all the delays we had yesterday and the chaos of that day with the weather, we finally put something together for today. And I was just really pleased our kids competed and really reacted to the adverse situations. And I thought we had a pretty good day. We had a few heartbreaking things that were really close for kids, but overall, I thought our kids stepped up and really, for the young team we have that qualified for nationals, most of them, it was a really fun thing to see.
Wes, what did you think of your men's sprinters this afternoon?
Yeah, they were exceptional. I'll tell you, we've had such a tough year keeping them healthy and indoors. We lost a conference championship over it, and I just was with the weather and they tightened the schedule today where it was just unbelievable. Sprint relay 100, 200 just in a row almost. I was so proud of them. I mean, having personal bests and just really getting in there and beating people that beat them the first day. I kind of think we didn't. I think we ran 10-2 and 10-18 or something with our 2 100 guys on the first day. And a lot of those other guys ran real hot. And I think today we ran hot. And I think that helped us maybe not having to go to the well quite so much. The only thing with Terrence, he went 20:56 and then turned around and went 20:38. So he was an outlier a little bit because he did run fast both days.
And that being a PR for him, we haven't talked about him much this year. Did you foresee that from him, or what kind of recruit was he? And
yeah, well, he has one time of a 2040 back in high school, and then but we got him in January. He had bad shins. His legs he wasn't in any shape at all, and we just didn't get to use him much indoors at all. And then he's just run 2090, 2088, 2080. And then, wow, I mean, he barely got in the meet. I think he was 45th or 6th after the scratches. And then he's number 4 in the whole region. So proud of him. And he ran it out of lane 9. He's just out there blind and just, what a phenomenal race for him, both days. And then he anchored our 4x1. I thought he did an exceptional job because he didn't get to stick well and he didn't panic. And we ran 39 flat, the best we've run all year.
I'll pass it on to the next person.
Coach, you talked about how the schedule caused there to be this kind of almost log jam of sprint events. You could see how it'd be negative just because guys have to run so quickly and right after each other. But do you think almost on the counter, it could give a guy like Terrence confidence to be on that relay and then qualify there and say, hey, okay, like let's use some of that positive momentum and do really well in the individual event as well?
I mean, no doubt. I always say this, and it can backfire on you when you don't. But that first race of the day, the 4x1, when you run good, and just like we did when we won the national championship in 19, set a school record, got 3rd place in the 4x1. No, we weren't even ranked top 8 or 9. And, everyone started believing. And I think it made a big difference there when we won that heat of the 4x1. We beat Oregon and beat some good people. And, the kids were excited. And then here we go. We lined up in the 100, and, I mean, it was just exceptional. And then here comes the 200, and, I just couldn't be prouder of those guys because it was a really tough day for them, how quickly they had to just line up. And it's so hot. It's unbearable. We got up there at 9 o'clock this morning, and I just walked in the door because we had the guys and then the girls, and it's been a long day.
You talked about some of those injuries, and obviously one of the guys, Courtney, comes back from that and qualifies in 3 events. How crazy is that for a guy? It wasn't like you ripped anything or like, a year-long injury or anything, but to go through any sort of injury at all and bounce back and qualify in the way that he did, what does that say about a kid like that?
Well, to me, he's the toughest kid we've got on the team, and he's really a tough kid. He doesn't talk a whole lot, but he is a silent leader. And I mean, he grabs that group and says, "Come on, let's go." And he leads by example every day, on working hard. He's a hard worker. His daddy's a boxer. He can box. He's just a tough kid, and I just love that about him because I feel like the culture of that group, he's just brought them along. And that was a sophomore, freshman, on the 4x1, and man, we got a lot faster. We got a lot left in the tank, I think, once we get our handoffs down. That's the first time that group's ever run together. So, I'm just real excited about it.
Let's go Ronald to Sean.
Coach, obviously, we didn't even get to this point. You talk about adversity. We didn't get to this point last season. And for you guys, and obviously you added a lot of, people in the off season, but for you guys to be able to do what you guys are doing this year after, not having this season last year, what does it say about this team overall when you speak of, overcoming adversity? What does it talk about, how successful this season is going for them?
Well, it's been the toughest year for me that I've ever had in my life coaching. And we had Norman Grimes, who got second at nationals, and he was hurt this year and out. And then Justin Hall, he tried to warm up, 26'8" long jumper, 5th place national guy, couldn't go. And those were things that were, we walked into the meet with. And then the tough year with COVID. And then we had one or two things go wrong at the beginning. And then, wow, the weather was awful last night. Big storm hit us. We're up really late, up real early to test at 7 a.m. this morning. And just through a lot of adversity. And then just to come out and have the best meet we've had all year with the sprinters. And the girls too, on the men's side, the sprints, but then the women got the 4x1, the 4x4 out. Ruth did what Ruth does, seasons, first row, got her in the meet, took the pressure off, and things started going pretty well, and just everybody started catching on. And then Sydney got 14th. She was just 2 out in the high jump. And then poor Lexi was 13th in the quarter hurdles, but comes back and anchors our 4x1 in the best time she's ever run her life. So, we just didn't let things affect us. And that's a sign of a maturing group. And our culture was really good on our team to not let those things just destroy you.
You talked about it a little bit there. Obviously, the culture that's been built apart of this team, just going through all the adversity this season. But how contagious is that for you guys to, start to see one qualify and then it just all starts to fall into place for you guys?
Oh yeah, it's what great teams do, and that's what with the young sprinters that kind of set the pace early for us today. It gives me a lot of hope for the future because, we got those guys all together for 2 more years. And then we're going to add some pieces to the puzzle. And then we get Norman Grimes back, and we get, a lot of these kids grew up today because they got in the war, and then they're going to, we got tons of kids never been to Eugene, never been to the final round. And so they're getting that experience this year, and it's going to be invaluable in the future.
Last question for me, Coach. I know I talked to you earlier before the season even started this year about going to Eugene. What is it going to be like to, sort of take it all in, the new Hayward Field?
Well, I hear it's high tech, and I hear it's exceptional. So it'll be something to see. I'll tell you that. And we're looking forward to it. I'm ready to get the kids there. We got about 8 days. We need a break, so we need to recover and kind of get going. But we're looking forward to seeing Eugene. I mean, the high tech that you see on the videos, so I'm going to be able to see it in person. So it's going to be fun.
Sean?
Coach, talk about being able to say, you said earlier this week how hard the West Regional is going to be, and now heading to Eugene. Do you think that facing such a tough regional is going to help you propel you toward when you head to Eugene?
You're muted, Coach.
I was just talking with Coach Felkins about the women's discus, and he said that's the national meet right here. There's one girl in the East region, and the rest of them are here. And I think just being in this region, of course, the East got some good people too, but I don't think we're going to find any tougher than what we've had. and the last few days, and then to have an opportunity to get there. This is a tough meet. I really always feel like some great kid doesn't get out of this meet just because of the adversity of it. And if you come off your conference meet, you're tired, then you got to turn right around, you get a sore leg, you're in trouble. And we just were so fortunate to get through today, and I don't think we had any injuries, and that's huge.
Coach, curious if you mentioned seasons, and then you mentioned the women's discus. She had mentioned how, last time you had someone who finished ninth and then nationally and qualified again. He did pretty well. What makes you confident that maybe seasons could do that on the women's side, what Duke was able to do on the men's side?
Yeah, I use that example a bunch in my speeches. And the key it's what I said earlier. Duke got there and then, didn't do a whole lot, but got ninth. And then he comes back the very next year, but he had been there. And so the lights, weren't too bright, or there wasn't anything that he hadn't seen. And that's one thing. She's going to go into this meet being there. I mean, that women's discus is just, it's harder than I've ever seen it in the history of my coaching. So she'll have a hard time winning, but I just want her to have a great meet and improve and be an All-American. And I think she's got a chance to really do well. But yeah, she's been there, so now it won't be a shock to you.
She said she had a lot of bad throws during practice, and then this week, and then comes out and has that one really good one to kind of ease the nerves. Does that allow her to get away with maybe one or two bad throws next week in practice?
No doubt. Hey, when I saw that first throw, I mean, it was a good one, and I knew it was going to put her in there, and over 190 feet. So I'm like, I knew she was in. And you only get 3, and you just got to be right. And we had no wind help today. It's just death out there. And so she's got a 200-footer in her, and she can throw 200 feet. I don't care what place you get. That's going to be great.